with that said, let's get ready to go into game number 2 between Slayer's Miya and Caliber Light. Gosh, it's still kind of hot. You know, whenever I mess up, I'm just going to blame the heat. And whenever I'm doing good, I'll be like, yeah, it's cooling down. Things are getting good.
You get to do that, man. It's like a free pass. Too much heat is a free pass. You know, in New Jersey, which is different than California, I'll explain it in a little bit, but in New Jersey, if it gets too hot, you actually get to get out from school. And
really? That never happened to me.
Really?
I grew up in Jersey, man.
Oh, man. Well, the Toms River District, if it got above 100 degrees, we would all go home early because they were scared of heat stroke and they didn't want to be sued. But I'm finding out, like, all over the world, that doesn't happen.
The world does not revolve around my home city.
Oh, man. I thought that was crazy. Also, if there's more than 1 inch of snow on the ground, no school.
I was blown away when I first moved to California how no one like arrived to pump my gas for me. I sat at the gas station for 10 minutes and no one came. And I was like, what? So no, I have to pump my own gas?
No, it's ridiculous.
In 110-degree weather?
Ridiculous over here in California. Can't believe that.
God.
Anyway, let's talk about the game in StarCraft, I guess. Bottom left-hand corner on Daybreak, we have Short Stuff, who is, of course, Slayer's Miya. Top right-hand position as the Pink Protoss, who just took a game off of Miya. It is Caliber Light.
It is, and Caliber is now up 1-0, guys. Of course, if you're just tuning in, it's a best-of-3 single elimination series all the way through to the very end, and today we broadcast the round of 256 and the round of 128, and this is the round of 128 between Caliber and Miya. So if Caliber wins this, he's done for the day. He goes on to the round 64 and picks up tomorrow, where Mr. Bid and Rotterdam will take you through the games.
Precisely right.
Yep.
Cannon block, or excuse me, pylon block, going to start off the game. Caliber is going to just track everything. Meanwhile, also getting his forge first. The hatchery is able to go down. Normally, this is a position where you will try to cannon rush if you are Protoss.
Yeah, I mean, he drops the pylon immediately. And now there's a really interesting way to force the pylons to wall yourself off at the third. And for a while, you know, Zerg's players kind of complain because you can't really reach it whatsoever. But will Caliber be able to exploit that whatsoever? He does have the pylon finishing. We'll find out in a second how Miya will respond as well. Now, Caliber, he got the first cannon off rush. Ooh, a nice little double back. And he's going to try to lock out the drone as well. And he doesn't get it, but you know what? There's only one drone there currently. Wow.
Poor drone. He's going to be stuck in there. And additional cannons should go down immediately. 2 Zerglings are actually here now. That'll obviously help out quite a bit. Is he going to actually splurge on additional units? It doesn't look like it.
No, he's just joining up, getting his queen count up.
Wow,
he really wants to be able to deal with it. The cannon is a little bit late, but oh, Miya cancels the hatchery anyway, and that's enough for Caliber because Miya realizes I don't have an opportunity to really defend this hatchery now. Miya is forced to one base because he's put all his Zerglings at the cannons. He doesn't have a way to deal with the pylon.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. I mean, think, those Zerglings actually didn't do anything. They killed a pylon. But now you're delaying your expansion for so long. That's why the more conservative approach is to just let it go down, knowing that there's a bunch of things that Protoss can actually do to guarantee that cannon rush actually comes up, and then put down your hatcheries. That way, at least you can keep up with the economy. But right now, Caliber is so far ahead in this one Nexus. Again, having the cannon rush work is crippling the Zerg.
Yeah, and ultimately is because Miya just kind of indecisively dealt with that and really needed to get his expansion up. Now his hatcheries are severely delayed, and the fact is he doesn't even have that healthy of a gas count either to really do anything really quick off 2 base. He just started to harvest his gas for the first time. And so that's just going to put him in a very awkward position at the normal amount of time where Zerg is usually booming, even if they are going off 2 base. So this is a very good position again for Caliber Light.
Interesting. Miya is actually still mining from gas, even though he's mined over 100. He most likely will get metabolic boost. What? No, he's not going to get metabolic boost. What is he going to do? 2 base?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen people go fast layer. I mean, back when we saw people do really crazy things. Remember that Cats versus TT1 game on the King of the Hill? They did some insanely crazy things. But I mean, Miya is just going for a delayed metabolic boost.
And he will see one of the evolution chambers, actually. Really, really cool. I don't think he clicked on it, so he has no clue what that is. It could be a roach warren. In this position, if I'm Caliber, I'm actually scared of some sort of all-in, so I'm sure he is a little bit wary of that. Additional cannon goes up because of that. But nothing of value just yet. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think he's going to go for a Stargate soon.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the way you play really defensively to make sure that you can't get busted, especially by any kind of roach laying. And I like that Caliber, again, he's been doing this very safe, just trying to make sure to cover all his bases. But now we see double Evo Chamber and not all 4, just 2 more gases taken for Miya. What should Miya do at this point, Andre? Like, what is his options, really?
Well, I think going this build isn't that bad. I mean, you're still getting an advantage in your upgrades. You're going to deny that third base for quite a long time because you have that ability to actually stop a lot of aggressive builds and then just go from there. The problem is, I mean, we do see Void Ray play coming out. And Void Ray play normally says, I'm going to harass a little bit, but be passive most of this game. And I feel like there aren't really any big upgrade timings where you can, just abuse your opponent. And because of that, Miya is actually just choosing the wrong build, unfortunately, and might be playing from behind this whole game.
Yeah, I mean, Miya does have a pretty decent drone count at this point, as he does have another batch incoming. He'll be at around 50 pretty soon, but he doesn't really have, that ability to really maximize production. He doesn't have the 3 hatcheries, really, that Zergs would love to be pumping out units nonstop because, again, he doesn't have that availability. Now, he is going for a lair immediately, and he does have a good number of Zerglings out to really try to deny this third base, which is a really nice play here, and this is a good way to stall for time.
It's actually a little bit interesting that Caliber is doing this. Getting a third base this early is really, really silly in my opinion because you've delayed a third base for so long. Your opponent has so many different capabilities of sorts of 2-base all-ins or even like 2-base tech that you should be a little bit more careful, not try to take your third base so quickly, knowing that 2-base Protoss is a lot more efficient than 2-base Zerg, and then play it out accurately as soon as you get Phoenix Scouts all across the map.
Well, we do see that the 2 Void Rays are now out, and last time Caliber was able to just drop a Robo Control Creep while teching 2 Colossus, a very standard thing to do if you feel like you're very ahead and you just want to make sure you just don't die to anything while you can control the map. You can see a few Sport Cars also forced out of Miya as well. The Voiders really won't be able to do anything from Caliber, but again, I mean, the whole idea is to just do this very methodically, very slowly, and I mean, this is pretty much Caliber's lead to lose again, so I liked his path to take it.
But now all of a sudden, because Caliber is trying to take his third so aggressively, these Zerglings actually become a lot more powerful. I mean, obviously with the upgrades, they have +1 armor right now, so they can never be 3-shotted, or excuse me, never be 2-shotted. Caliber is actually digging his own grave, I think, because he's just losing out so much here. Yes, the Sentry will be able to do a lot over here, but additional Zerglings should pop out momentarily. And there should be constant pressure on this third base to make it so difficult for him to actually get it up.
Yeah, I mean, Caliber's trying to do the same thing he did on Cloud Kingdom where he keeps walling, but it's a little bit trickier on Daybreak just because, again, the path that leaves your natural is what leads you to the third versus kind of the backdoor area. So you don't have that availability to really wall off one aspect easily. And even if you do, the fact is Caliber has to use a lot more to wall. Look at his wall. It's just much more massive this time around.
Infestors on the way out, and there are no Colossus inbound. That is a big problem. I mean, obviously the Colossus are just so powerful. Now the Zerglings get in here beautifully, and Caliber is going to lose. He has no actual way of defending against this. Obviously the Voiders are going to help quite a bit, but so much damage is being done here. And, obviously the Zerglings are paying for themselves over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, he's stalling his ability to go off 3 gas, and Caliber only has 2 Void Rays out onto the field. And, I mean, he does end up dealing with these Zerglings, but enough time has been stalled at the point where Miya is able to get a pretty good drone count, establish 3 base, have decent tech, and his upgrades are on a pretty decent track compared to his opponent.
Yeah, and also the Infestor count. I mean, the fact that there are Infestors out and there's no Colossus timing means that Caliber cannot do any aggression. This just guarantees that all of a sudden this 4th base, even a 5th base, can be taken because he's like 1 step higher than his opponent. Normally you need some sort of either something of value to actually have the Zerg a little bit scared. And Caliber doesn't have that. Oh, Fungals! And this should kill both of the Voiders.
Yeah, as long as he just keeps a nice little pin. The Queen can deal with it very nicely. Oh, he's going to let him go. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, never mind. He's going to at least catch one of them. It just goes to saying, I don't have to run the fastest person. I just have to outrun my buddy.
I'm always going to run with Ben from now on. That way, if we ever get mugged, I'll just be like, later, Ben!
Do you think if Usain Bolt ran with one leg, he'd still be able to beat Ben in a foot race?
Yes. But well, that's more saying, yeah, never mind. Yes. I'll leave it at that.
Ben would be a queen off creep, right? Is that pretty much what we agreed on?
Yeah, that's about right.
That's mean to say, but we can see that Miya has a lot of mobility because he's been able to keep a good creep spread this entire game and really be able to stretch out across the map. Now his 4th base is up very, very comfortably, and now he's also getting hive tech and everything out as well. Caliber does have a mothership inbound, but what is he gonna really do? The mothership will keep his 7 stalkers cloaked. And that's great for the stalkers, but there's nothing really else that you can do with that. You can't, even if you vortex, how are you going to really capitalize on it?
Even, well, seeing the infestor count already, I mean, what does that really say? How is it going to benefit your army? Now, there are styles where you get the mothership, and all of a sudden the High Templar is a lot more powerful because they can actually go in front of the mothership, so the infestors can't really get in range. That could work out pretty nicely. Actually, there's a lot of micro problems that go into that if you're Zerg, but all you need is overseers and you're good to go. I think this is more of a surprise thing more than anything, and I think that's really silly, especially with the lead that he got, denying that 3rd base, relying on mothership so heavily. Just get those Colossus, you know?
Another warrior gets caught out here into the 4th, and so Caliber's map control is effectively nil until he's able to really get any response to the fact that his opponent has 4 bases very comfortably. Caliber does have his mothership about to pop, but again, he hasn't really even been pumping that many units out. He does have an Archon, he does have a couple Templar for Storm, but there's just, I mean, what's he going to really be able to do against a huge Zerg army that has tech, that has tier 3, Greater Spire pretty much uninhibited, and great upgrades?
Yeah, exactly. And getting this 4th base, I think, is incorrect. You have to hit a timing because your opponent hasn't really splurged on anything inefficiently on layer tech. Obviously, you want to actually bait either additional infestors or more roaches, something that actually constitutes gaps, because now everything that he saved up from here on out is going to hive tech, going to upgrades, going to things that actually help you moving forward. And you want to stop that as Protoss as much as possible. The mothership obviously shows itself, reveals itself, but not going to really help. Now, I like this transition. Carrier Void Ray tech is actually getting really, really popular in PvZ these days, and it really punishes Zergs that play too passive. You know, just wait for Protoss to do something. This works out, but you need a ton of time if you're Protoss, and I don't know if that really exists, as there is a big timing when Broodlords pop out that he can actually exploit.
Yeah, and I know a lot of Protoss players, like, for example, Real, the Korean player that lives in Europe, used to love doing Carrier Void Ray in PvZ. And as long as you're really careful, you can kind of use that carrier range, which is surprisingly long. I think after the Interceptor's launch, carriers have 12 range or something insane like that, something where they kite, they can do a lot of DPS, and making sure that Broodlords and Corruptors can't ever really touch your army, and if they do, the Void Rays can confront very strongly. Well, you can see that Miya's going to set up for a huge flank here, Andre, and Caliber's trying to wall himself in. Is this going to be enough?
Oh, he actually stormed himself, unfortunately, but it's going to be really close. No forces actually be thrown down. Finally, there it is, but there's not enough High Templar energy out here. There's no damage-dealing units, no AoE, and Zerg is just going to overrun everything in this position. A lot of units were actually caught inside of that Warp Prism, but that's stuff that he needed. GG gets called out. Caliber is going to lose.
Yikes.
Game number 2, yikes, is the perfect word
that
for
was
that.
A very good position from Caliber.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He came out of the gate and was at like the 80, if it was a 100-meter sprint, he was at the 80-meter mark and just tripped and fell flat and just...
That's exactly
that is, he went almost all the way there of having a lead. He had kept his opponent on 1 base for so long, and he was on 2 base. That was such a winnable game. I've been in those situations. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. But that being said, I understand Caliber's situation. He was trying to play that Void Ray carrier play, but just did not work out for the timings. When we come back, game number 3, the final game of this series, is about to go down. Caliber versus Miya, 1-1. We'll be back after this.